Ronnie. Aaron Blaise here. Dustin, you brought me over a little early.
A little early. Just a little.
Yeah, forgot about the last part of the new intro. That's okay. So, hey, we're back, and it's Friday. We got a new stream today, and we have a new guest. In our tradition of the last 3 weeks, we've been having guests. I got my coffee.
Coffee.
So, we've got an awesome guest. We got my brother from another mother here, Ronnie Williford. Say hi, Ronnie.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
So, we are super excited. As you guys know, that for those of you that follow us, you know that Ronnie's got a couple of courses on our website, and he's just come up with a third course, an introduction to drawing. So this is a really great course for those of you that are just getting into drawing or have kids that are just getting into drawing, and you really don't know where to start. Well, this course will get you started, and we're going to have orders starting today. So it's really cool. We have a preview that's going out on my YouTube channel today, where you can sample. You can see some of the one of the courses or one of the lessons from the course, and it's just awesome. And so, if you go on over to actually, have you pulled up the slide?
I did pull it up.
Good. If you go on over to creatureartteacher.com. It's there.
It's there.
Yeah, I don't have the I don't have the little slash.
Nick, do the thing.
It'll be on the front. It'll be on the page. It'll be on the page. So we're really excited about that. So it's all in pre-order this week, and then next week I think we're going to have it all ready to be delivered. So that's going really well. Also, as you guys know or remember, way back when we first started going through COVID problems back in March, Nick and I and the rest of the gang, we got together and started talking about what we could do to give back to make things a little easier for you guys. And that's when we decided to put the animation course, my introduction to animation course, free. And since then, I think we've had over 50,000 downloads of the animation course. And I think that's being fairly conservative. I think we've had a fair amount more than that. And which is awesome. We're very happy that it's gotten out there. It's going all over the world. But as things are starting to come out, and we've decided to go ahead and put that back up for sale. So this is your last chance. This weekend is going to be your last chance, if you haven't done it, to download our Introduction to Animation course for free. Now, it's not going to go up to an exorbitant amount of money, but we are going to start putting a price back on it. And then come around Christmas time, Thanksgiving time, we're going to start giving some deals to some other courses. But for the Introduction to Animation course, this is the last weekend that it's going to be for free. We've had it for free for the last, how long has it been since March?
It's
6
been,
months?
Yeah, 6 months at least.
Months.
I thought it was 6 years.
Even more than that. Yeah.
7 months. 7 months. And like I said, we're really, really happy that you guys have downloaded it. And we've got a lot of great response from people. And so make sure you go to creatureartteacher.com and grab the Introduction to Animation course if you haven't already, because it is free. Yeah, that's the thing. Nick is reminding me, one of the reasons, if you're asking, why are you putting a cost on it? Well, it actually costs us money to give it for free. And so we need to start covering our costs. And the way that because we have to pay for the bandwidth when it's downloaded. When you guys download, we actually pay for the bandwidth for that download. And so those 50,000 downloads of that course, it's cost a little bit of money. But we're glad that we can help. We're not complaining. We just need to put it back up for sale. So that's what we're doing. This is the last weekend. And Ronnie's course is up for pre-order now, and it comes out on Friday, October 16th. So we're very happy about that. Very excited.
That's awesome.
That's a week from today.
That's going to be very cool.
And also, before we get into the meat of today, I want to remind you, tomorrow is our big live event. And I'm going to be talking to you guys who've been promoting this for about a month and a half now, my approach to animal drawing. And it's going to be a live event. It starts at 11 a.m. Eastern time. That's my time. So you can do the adjustments accordingly, depending on where you are in the world. But I'm going to be talking about animal anatomy. I'm going to be talking about comparative anatomy. That's the biggest thing that I want to get across to you guys. If you can start understanding the parts of your body and how they correspond to parts of the animal's body, it makes it a lot easier to understand the anatomy as you're drawing it. Okay, so I'm going to spend a fair amount of time on that tomorrow. We also have quite a bit of footage from our trip that happened a year ago this week. Actually, a year ago this week, we were in Kenya, and we were videotaping and drawing and photographing like crazy. And so I'm going to have videotape from that trip, and we're going to be drawing from that as well. And I'm going to be talking about anatomy and how you draw animals and movement and all that kind of thing. So once again, it starts at 11. It's 6 hours. We will have a 30-minute break in between in the middle of the day. But it's basically 2 3-hour classes, or 2 hours and 45 minutes with a 15-minute break on either end. And so we're going to have some fun there. So that's tomorrow. So there's still time to sign up for it. We've only got a limit of 300 spaces. So if you're interested, then jump over to creatureartteacher.com/live, and you can get all the information there.
Do you know exactly how many have gone so far?
Over 200.
Over 200?
Yeah, over 200. Twitch question. What's the first animal part skull you collected, and what's the story behind finding it? I will get to that in just a second. I think we've covered all the bases that we need to cover.
I think so.
So, Ronnie. Ronnie is our big guest of the day today. And Ronnie and I, for those of you that don't know, Ronnie and I have been friends for over 25 years. He came into Disney when I was working at Disney, and that's where we met. Little did we know, we were actually showing our paintings in the same shows before we knew each other.
Yeah, we were both members of the Society of Animal Artists.
Yep,
and
exactly.
We're friends with the same wildlife artists, and crossing paths without actually knowing
Exactly.
that we were in each other's faces.
I know, it's pretty cool.
It was very cool. It was fun to find that out.
And so Ronnie and I worked at Disney for a long time, and then the studio where we worked at in Florida, that studio shut down, and Disney kind of shrunk, or the animation studio shrunk up. So Ronnie left the company. I stayed with Disney for a few more years out in California, and so we've kind of done our own things for a while. But now we've come back together. Over the last 4 years, we've lived right down the street from one another, and we hang out quite a bit. We go painting a lot and play music when we can. I say a lot. We don't do it nearly as often as we should.
Well, in the last 6 months, who's been able to do anything?
Yeah, but we've done workshops together, which is great. We just did in March, right before COVID shut everything down. We did a watercolor workshop together, which was fantastic. And then way back in last June of last year, we did a workshop in England, in Manchester, England, at a castle out there where we had everybody come out and we painted, and it was just fantastic.
Those were fun trips.
So since Ronnie is releasing his introduction to drawing, which is good, by the way, for anybody from 5 years old to 105 years old. It's just a great course that speaks to every age. We just thought it'd be fun to sit and draw. Ronnie's going to draw traditionally at my animation desk. If you can see, there's the down shooter, and I'm going to draw digitally at my desk. And we were thinking, since it's National Cephalopod Week, which is octopus and squid and cuttlefish and all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
Ronnie's got a ton of experience drawing those animals, and so we thought we would do that. I'm taking up all the speaking air.
Oh, that's okay.
But Ronnie, can talk a little bit about, as we draw, you can talk a little bit about your experiences diving and all your experiences with octopus and all that stuff.
Yeah, there was a period of time where I was spending so much time underwater. I worked as a dive master for a little while. God, this is a million years ago. It was back in the 80s. I worked as a dive master, and I spent a lot of time underwater with octopus and moray eels, and trying to think of the things that we saw the most of. Certainly, sharks and reef fish and lionfish, and you can't you can't spend time in that environment and have it not find its way into your art. It's you're gonna get curious, and you're gonna question, geez, how does this work? What is this sort of anatomy do in this fish, and so I think I spent 15 years just doing underwater subjects, all the way up right up until I went to Disney, which was '95, I
Wow.
guess, and I've continued to do underwater subjects, and the fact that it's National Cephalopod Week, that's that's my wheelhouse, man.
Yeah, right on, baby.
That's right in my stuff. So, let's see.
Well, let me answer the skull question real quick. One of the first skulls I think I got was a I'm trying to remember. I think it was a wild boar skull. I was just out walking around when I was a kid, and I found this pig skull. And I've always been fascinated by. And the other thing I used to do was get owl pellets, which are the regurgitated, digestive, all the stuff that the owl can't digest. They eat mice and rats and everything whole, and then they can't digest the rest, and they basically throw up what they can't into it as a pellet. And so you can pull those pellets apart when they dry out and make little skeletons and stuff. So I used to make little mouse skeletons and rat skeletons, and so that was my beginning of collecting skulls.
That's awesome.
The Society of Animal Artists, is there a secret handshake? No. No secret handshake. YouTube question. I decided to go for the animal workshop. This is my first time doing something like this. Both nervous and excited. Is there anything specific I need for it that would help? Photoshop brushes and such? No. I mean, you don't need Photoshop either. You can draw traditionally. So just show up and be prepared to listen. You don't even have to draw if you don't want, because you're going to be able to access the course afterwards as well. There's a bit of a hum in the audio that Nick was just saying. Yeah, Nick, we know it's the fans, but we can't. We've gotten it as quiet as we can, unfortunately.
Yeah, without us boiling to death.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And for the people who want to participate in the event tomorrow, what do you recommend to have on hand to work with you in the workshop?
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. So you can just show up with pencil and paper. You don't have to be digital, because I'm going to be talking about anatomy and that sort of thing. So it really doesn't depend on what medium you're working, as long as you have the ability to draw. And actually, like I said, you don't even have to draw if you don't want. So, but let's go back to drawing cephalopods. One of the cool things I love about Octopus is how incredibly smart they are.
Oh man, I have played games with them underwater, and they are so much fun.
One of the things that stuck with me when you and I have talked is how you said you can't eat them because they're just too smart. There's something about that bothers you.
It's like eating a person. I have the same issue with turtles. I see it on the menu from time to time, and if you spend any time with green sea turtles or sea turtles of any kind, they're like dogs. They follow you around and.
You've seen turtle on the menu?
Oh yeah. If you go into the Caribbean, they have turtle farms, so that you don't fish them. They farm them for the restaurant industry, and not the case with octopus. They actually fish those.
Yeah.
And if I have sat on the gravel and the seashells and played with octopus where they take little rocks and they build little enclosures that they can kind of go inside and sleep. And I would sit down with one, and as he would build, I would take his little rocks off and I would set them down over here. And he would come back around and he'd get those rocks and he'd put them back. And so I would help him build. And it just, they're so responsive with you, And You also have to be kind of careful around them. They can be a little bitey,
Yeah.
but
Well, one of the things that's kind of sad but interesting at the same time is just their short lifespan.
yeah.
And what's interesting though is their ability to problem solve and get as smart as they are within such a small amount of time, because they do learn. It's not that they're born with this intrinsic intelligence. I mean, there's definitely some instinct in there, but there's a lot of stuff. Their brain is so capable of learning, and it fascinates me because if an octopus could live 10 years, imagine what they would be like after 10 years.
Well, and I've heard scientists say that if you know, by virtue of the fact that they're stuck underwater, they're kind of frozen in the Stone Age. They're that if they ever figured out how to create fire,
Yeah.
people would be in trouble because they're smart enough to reason, and they would start, advancing their own civilization.
Twitch comment. Back when I was doing research at the Whitney Lab in Florida, I caught an octopus and decided to keep it for the summer as a thing to show the elementary school students who would visit the lab. It recognized that I was the one that caught it, so whenever it saw me, it would turn black and ink the mesocosm I kept it in.
Oh, that's wild.
He just thought you were a jerk. That's a bummer.
And Detlef says, saw my octopus teacher based on your recommendation. I cried so much in the end, man.
So did I. I bawled like a baby.
And
Did you
Vanya,
get a chance to see that, Ronnie?
I couldn't make myself do it.
Yeah.
After I feel like I've kind of lived it, and I
Yeah, I'm sure you have actually. This guy, it's such a beautiful story, and I thought it, because it was all kelp and everything, I thought it was taking place, and I thought it was a giant octopus in California, but it actually takes place in South Africa.
yeah, that
I didn't know there were
ocean
these giant kelp forests in South Africa. I guess they kind of occupy a cold water belt around the world.
Well, that's where those great whites hang out.
Oh yeah, well it's the same thing with California too, isn't it? It's interesting.
Yeah.
and Vanya says, Ronnie, big hug from the other side of the ocean. Nice to see you.
Oh, mega hugs for my European folk. I have had so much fun this last year staying in close contact with everyone that was in our class at the castle, and I had intended on getting back out there before now, and running into the same problem everybody is. I still intend on coming back. It's gonna be a little longer, I'm afraid.
Caroline also says, hello, Ronnie, and hello, Aaron.
Hello,
Miss Caroline.
sweet Caroline.
Ba, ba, ba.
She's never heard that joke before.
When writing a story on my own, how do I make sure that my story stays simple and doesn't become too big without even noticing it? I don't know how to keep the scale of my projects under control.
But it's definitely, it's doing it in stages. You don't just start writing, because if you do just start writing, it can get away from you. A lot of times I start with a premise of what it is that, what's this story about, and I let that build into kind of a thematic, and then I don't deviate from that theme, and I build everything on that theme. So it's basically building the story before you start writing the story. And I don't know, it's easier to explain that way than to I'd have to show it to make it really clear. Actually, Chuck Williams, who is my writing and directing partner when we were at Disney, he put together a course for it on our website. So if you're interested in that, we actually cover it, or he covers exactly what you're talking about in the question on the website. I know I sound like I'm plugging plugging it, but it's perfectly explained there. So if it's something you're really interested in, then check it out at creatureartteacher.com. And Chuck Williams' course on story will cover everything that you just asked about.
And this goes to Ronnie from Matt Yoakum saying, "Howdy, all. Ronnie's color course is one of my favorites and wanted to thank him for his insights and very thoughtful and comprehensive videos. P.S. I have to keep rewatching the videos because Ronnie's voice is so soothing that I keep falling asleep watching them."
Thanks so much. I appreciate your compliment. And you're not the only one who's been falling asleep to that video show. I've got a buddy in Texas.
Back off from the mic a little bit. They're saying you're loud. Sorry, go ahead, Nick. Ronnie, sorry.
I've got a buddy in Texas who said that he puts on my YouTube videos so that he can fall asleep at night, because he just closes his eyes and listens to my stupid girly voice, I guess. So thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, and I'm sorry it has that effect on you, but I'm glad you found some things in there that you have found helpful, because a lot of those things I brought up in that course are things that you should be learning those things in school. Like in college, they should be teaching that stuff, and they used to, but it's not common anymore. Since everything's gone digital, they treat color theory very differently, and it's not different. It's the same no matter what medium you're using. The rules don't change. Maybe the way you apply them does, but
truth, baby.
It's just knowing those basics, and that's the whole point of doing this drawing class. I've done shows and things for so long where people used to come up to me during shows and say, "Oh, I really love your work, and I wish, I used to love to draw. I wish I had kept that up. I wish that I had continued to draw because I enjoyed it so much." And I'd say, "Why don't you go ahead? Why don't you start again?" They go, "No, I'm too old, or or I'm not talented, and the fact is, anybody can do it, and I really do look at it like a skill. It's not this magical thing, and yet it's so important when it comes time to change mediums, when you're going to start using paint or watercolor or colored pencils, or if you want to do printmaking, or if you're going to sculpt. Drawing is the basis for all of that, and I that's the reason I did this course, is for those people who seem to think that they can't do it. They've gotten too old, or they're they don't believe that they're talented enough to do it. It's not a talent issue. It's a practice issue. It's not even a matter of practice either. Because if you're gonna cook in the kitchen, like you don't pull out a dozen eggs and practice making eggs. You just
do it.
You just do it. You just cook eggs.
Yeah, and the more you do it, the better you get.
Yeah. If you burn them, you scrape them off, and you make 2 more eggs. But it's not something you have to practice. Drawing is just like that. It's a skill that develops the more you apply it. And I tried to make a course that would be super easy to follow and fun, and why am I talking about that now? I don't remember. I'm thinking about drawing Octopus, and that my mouth is just rambling.
All right. Let's see. Here's one. Aaron, do you have any old drawings from when my Uncle Brian Johnson and you were teens? My mom talks about how you and your brother always had a pen and paper with you, and she remembers some of your drawings, so that would be cool to see. see them. Well, unfortunately, no. My house burnt down when I was a kid. Not to put a bummer on the story, but
I'm depressed.
My
now.
house burnt down when I was a kid, and I lost all those drawings. So I don't have any of those drawings. No, but we did. Your Uncle Brian. Actually, your Uncle Brian and I live really close to each other now. Ronnie knows Brian.
You betcha. Yeah,
And,
he's an awesome dude.
Yeah, and so he lives right down the road. And actually, Brian's been on the show
We
along with his son James.
talk on Facebook from time to time.
Yeah. Ronnie and Aaron, what are your favorite animated films and why?
Huh. Okay. Let's see. Favorite animated films. You know, I'm gonna have to say that Klaus ranks up really high for me.
It does for me too.
But you know, geez, I'm not even sure how to answer that. It's, you know, I'm a huge fan of all early traditional stuff, and so I grew up on that early Disney stuff. But there have been some good new ones too. Remember Surf's Up?
Yeah.
I mean, I love that film.
I love that style. And
Me too.
the way they recorded the dialogue just made it feel so naturalistic.
Why don't they make that a normal style?
Because it's impossible to get everybody in. Because you have to record at least 5 times during the course of making an animated film. And so to get everybody together 5 times like that, it's just impossible.
That is true.
Well,
Because like when we did Brother Bear, and I know every other film is like this as well, we contract the actors for at least 5 recording sessions.
it seems like story changes a lot.
Well, which is why we do 5 recording sessions. 'Cause when we have them in, we'll record everything in the film that they're in, but then we have to bring them back because story has changed.
Right. But real quick, Caroline says, "Tell Ronnie he best get his and Paula's butts back over here. We have plans."
Don't think we don't think about it. We talk about it every night.
Yeah, Vedanta and I were talking about wanting to get back to Manchester so bad.
Yeah, we really do too. I promised Paula we'd go to Liverpool and
Oh, I want to go back there.
Yeah, right.
what an awesome place.
And what kind of octopus are the two of you doing right now?
I'm just doing an octopus character.
I don't know that there's varieties of them. Are there?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of varieties actually. Different sizes and
the
different
only
species.
one that I'm positive is its own
Species?
its own little is that blue ringed octopus that they have in
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah, there's a fair number of different species of octopus. I do know that. I can't recite them. Plus, you've got like the giant octopus in California,
Actually, that's true.
which is its own species.
If you go into Puget Sound, it's hard to scuba dive Puget Sound and not run into one of those things.
Exactly.
By the way, somebody's asking because you did the textures while Ronnie was talking. I had the camera on him.
Uh-huh.
How did you put the textures on there? Because we didn't get to see that.
That's making a brush, baby. I made a custom brush. I made that a while back. This is my custom brush right here.
Shifty.
I made it during one of the live streams. Right here. So this is it. So it can make these really nice textures. See that?
Pretty.
But here's one that makes fish scales.
Even more pretty.
Cheating! He's cheating!
I am
Cheater!
Anytime I get a chance to cheat, I cheat.
By the way, Ronnie, do you know Glenn Vilppu?
Oh, Aaron and I both know Glenn. Actually, Aaron knows Glenn Vilppu better than I do. I've drawn with him at Disney. you've done some interviews and stuff with him, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. We're all good buddies.
I'm not as I've not been as close to him as I would like, but I'm certainly familiar with him and have spent some time drawing with him at Disney. Let's see. This is a stream of consciousness drawing. I'm not even paying attention to what I'm doing.
That's okay.
And now I have to figure out. I didn't do a very good job of composing here.
Yeah, I'm just giving them some little blue spots.
We're just drawing, that's all.
Just drawing.
Just drawing, just having a good time.
Drawing
Drawing.
pictures.
Just having fun. And Caroline says over 800 species of cephalopods.
Awesome.
Says the ex-marine biologist wisely.
She
I
should
miss
know.
my pet octopus.
How many? But how many of octopus specifically? The cephalopods include squid and cuttlefish and whatnot. I think.
Yeah.
Unless I'm wrong.
That's right.
Let me look that up real quick.
How many species of octopi?
Whenever I've been in the water with them,
There are 300.
really,
Yep.
they're so they all look alike. So I don't know.
Jump over to Ronnie's drawing. I want to see what he's doing. Oh, that's a cool one.
That's
I
cool.
love it.
And just,
Oh, that's cool.
Actually, you and I were drawing one very similar.
are we?
Yeah.
I just
I'm trying to do like an octopus character.
I was kind of figure drawing him in.
Yeah, so the definition of the species of the amount of octopus in the Wikipedia is around 300 species are recognized, and the order is grouped within the class of cephalopods with squids, cuttlefish, and nautiloids.
Oh, like nautilus. Ships.
Nautilus, yeah.
Oh,
And
oh,
like
yeah,
other
I forgot
cephalopods, the
about that.
octopus is bilaterally.
Lederhosen? What?
Bilaterally?
Bilaterally?
Bilaterally. Thank you. Man,
You're okay.
I'm bad at reading. Symmetric with 2 eyes and a beak, with its mouth at the center point of the 8 limbs.
I'd never thought about the nautilus,
Yeah.
but it certainly is one.
Are the nautilus the ones that had they're like squid but had the shell?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
the water. Yeah. What were the ancient, though? From like 250 million years ago, or maybe it was.
I think that's what those were. Were the nautilus?
Yeah, they had the long shells. There's all kinds of species of them.
Yeah.
The long shells. What was that called?
It was like a nautilus.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at ancient life forms, so I'm sure if there's people out there that are gonna.
I used to collect
right up.
fossils of those things, and
Travis has an octopus. My brother has an octopus character, and he could do this a lot better than me. He's gonna be pissed that I'm doing octopus characters.
This is more of a comment, but I believe it's in a form of a question. But when somebody looks at my character designs and casually says, "Hey, this guy looks like insert copyrighted character name here," I get really nervous. I'm not offended. It's just that I'm really worried of ripping off a design by accident. Like, should he be nervous about that sort of thing?
Say it again. I
Like
was
when,
reading.
like the designs that he's
No, I was
made.
reading. Just read the question again.
Yeah.
Nick had a thing that I was reading.
Oh, gotcha. When somebody looks at my character designs and casually says, "Hey, this guy looks like insert copyrighted character name here," I get really nervous.
Okay,
I'm
I
not
got
a-
it now.
Yeah, I'm not.
Don't get nervous. Every time I draw a picture of a tiger as a character,
Shere
someone
Khan.
goes, "Oh, that looks like Shere Khan." Every time I draw a picture of a lion as a character, "Oh, that looks like Mufasa." "Oh, that looks like Scar." It happens every time. I drew this human character the other day, and they said, "Oh, that looks like such and such character from the Umbrella Academy, the dad."
Mm.
So you know what? It's just part of being an artist, and when you do characters, it's people are going to see. No, don't worry about it.
yeah, great minds just think alike. That's all.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, have any of you guys seen a vampire squid? And
Yes, actually, I think that's what Nick just showed right here.
yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's a picture of one.
Oh yeah.
I have seen them.
Looks like an umbrella.
I've never seen one in person, but I've seen the photos
Yes,
of them.
exactly. I think
Yeah.
it's a deep sea.
Yeah, very
animal.
deep sea. It's a deep sea creature.
I've never done any octopus characters, so this is fun.
Yeah, it
Oh,
really
you know what
is.
I did do. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can find it. Stay on Ronnie's drawings.
All right.
I sort of finished my octopus. Now I'm just dropping in these little sergeant major fish.
Caroline says they are so intelligent. We had octopi who would open their tanks, go and dine on the fish in the fish tanks.
Yeah.
Some on the other side of the lab over several rooms away. Then
Yeah.
head back to the tanks and close the lids. Again, so we don't know. We caught it on camera as we couldn't work out where the fish were going.
Yeah. If you are in the Caribbean, if you go down to like Grand Cayman, you can lay on the beach on your stomach at night and have it be pitch black, and shine a light across the. It's not really surf coming in. It's lapping very quietly. The water kind of laps up quietly, but you can shine a light across where the water's lapping, and you'll get two eyes reflecting back at you, where the octopus they've got their eyes out of the water and they're looking for crabs. They're hunting for crabs. So while you've got the light on them, you'll see them scurry on their elbows really fast and come up on the beach and grab a crab and sort of engulf it and head back to the water with it. They hunt just like, just like any other animal. They're not the least bit shy about coming out of the water.
And it's funny when they come out of the water, they just nearly completely flatten out like they're just jelly because they have no skeleton.
Yeah.
And it's just such a weird thing to see. Like I saw it once in a documentary. Creepiest thing.
This is I was working on a film when I was living on the beach. Actually, I don't know if you've ever seen these, Ronnie. These were these squid.
I don't think even I've seen these.
These are some squid character ideas for this film I was working on.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I wanted his body to feel like a hat.
Yeah.
And then he used the gripper tentacles that he has as arms as well. They are arms. And then this one's, I don't think it's fun, but this was the final design right here.
Okay.
Right
Oh.
there. But that was this was from a long time ago.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, that was a good time. I came up with that. There's a whole Loch Ness monster for this story, and mermaids and all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, I forgot all about that.
By the way, did you, Nick, ever find out who made the small drawing of the pig last week?
No, I think Nick already knew.
You think Nick was the culprit all along?
Yeah, it was Nick.
Here we go.
Oh, I gotta go back to Nick. Whoops. Oh, hey. Whoa.
Oh, talking about the type of nautilus that was like millions of years ago. Somebody said, I think talking about the orthocone.
Yes, thank you. Nick says there's documented evidence of a species deep sea octopus sitting on her eggs for 53 months, longer than any other animal on Earth. They actually have video of the same female for this entire time. That's kind of crazy because they just, and it's the fact that it's deep sea and super cold water just that tells me that its metabolism is super slow. Because normally, squid and octopus really doesn't live more than 5 years, usually. But there's always one species that's going to defy the odds, obviously. Yeah, I read the same thing, Nick, and even they thought it was crazy that it was on there that long. Coda on YouTube asks, would it be silly to try and be a professional scientist and a professional artist? I can't decide between art and science. People tell me they contradict each other. No, they don't.
They do not.
They do not contradict each other at all.
They complement each other.
They complement. That is 100% false. You can obviously tell that you kind of raised Ronnie and I kind of bristled at that. I hate that.
It's amazing how many scientists are artists and how many artists are, not to put too fine of a point on it, but like biologists kind of.
Yeah.
One of the most important things about being an artist is your being drawn to the things, you take a closer look at the things that draw your attention. And if I'm working on drawing Octopus or anything, I draw my attention and really close, and then I start asking questions and wondering things, and it's art is a stimulation for learning science and vice versa. I don't even know how many doctors I've known who are artists.
Yep. Tara Whitlatch is a trained zoologist. I mean, she's a perfect example. Creature designer, and she takes that science that she knows about how animals are built and their physiology, and she turns that into creature design for Star Wars and Avatar and all kinds of cool stuff. So having that science degree is awesome.
Yeah.
And there is also the show, the documentary that you turned me on to, Ronnie, on drawing the surgeon that would do sketches in open heart surgery.
Dr. Frank Wells.
Yeah, in his patient's blood.
Yeah.
It sounds morbid, but he would, as he'd be working on a patient, they'd have the chest open, while the patient is out, and he would explain to the other doctors there in a drawing, and he sketched it beautifully by taking his was it the forceps?
Takes the forceps, and dips it into the chest cavity of the body.
Exactly, dipping it into the chest cavity of the body, and then drawing on a piece of paper in the patient's blood what they're going to be doing. I mean, it's just it's crazy, but it worked, and he was able to communicate because he could draw.
Well, and he, the night before a surgery, he goes through and draws exactly what they're going to be doing.
Yep.
So he shows those drawings to his staff before they ever crack anybody open. It's really a perfect example of science and art coming together.
Absolutely. Yeah, that statement of art, also the other statement of art being a right-brained activity, it's just not true.
No, you're
There's
correct.
so much that's analytical about art. It's not just creativity. When you sit down, especially in representational art, and you have to figure out the lighting, or in animation, you have to figure out timing and three-dimensional movement and all of that. That's all very left brain quote. We use the entire part of our brain. The whole left brain, right brain thing is a myth. But the idea of art being strictly creative and nothing about it being analytical or anything like that is an absolute myth as well.
I mean, I think in my personal opinion, like the most scientific physics I've ever seen of your work is the pendulum swinging of Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, all of that was very, very, very analytical and methodical to figure out.
Lots of physics science. Involved.
And when you're sitting there having to figure out, bounced light and reflected light and core of the shadow and all kinds of stuff just with lighting, how does color mix? That with Ronnie, I'm speaking to what Ronnie already knows as well. Let Ronnie speak on that a little bit.
What about the color?
Well, just color, just the analytics of art rather than the creativity of art.
Well, yeah, it's such a huge amount of it is engineering, and I don't know how to convey that message to young artists who beat themselves up all the time about, my work's not as good as this person, or I'm not doing, I'm not keeping up, and I'm just not talented, and it's you're not competing with anyone. It's just a matter of sort of being attentive to what is important to you, and then engineering your way through it. So much of art is you find yourself surprising yourself when you try new things. You come up with an idea on how to approach something, and you give it a try, and it works. That's not magical talent. You'd have to think your way through to come up with cool stuff. There we go.
Here's one. Did either of you guys take any drawing courses from Walt Stanchfield? I did. I think Walt had passed away when you came into Disney, or did you?
He passed away shortly after. He's one I never met. I never got to meet him.
Yeah. He was my drawing instructor when I was an intern. One of the nicest guys you'd ever meet. Super nice guy.
I have a big folder packed with his notes.
Oh yeah.
And kind of his drawing philosophies and things.
Yeah.
So I feel like I know him.
He's just, I can't. He and I would just sit and have these long conversations about camping and travel and animals, and his wife would drive. They'd go camping. His wife would drive, and he'd sit in the passenger side, and he'd do little landscape watercolors as they went by. So it'd be there it goes.
Oh, that's funny.
There it goes. And he would just fill his book with these little landscapes that were beautiful, but they were fleeting because they were flying by down the highway.
Have either of you guys drawn from underwater documentaries?
I have.
I have too.
Framing. Yeah.
I have.
Absolutely.
I've done the same.
Absolutely.
Um,
Any kind of documentary, I think, is well done. Documentaries are definitely worth having as source material.
Yeah. Wherever you come up with that kind of thing, it's fair game.
Ronnie, did you work on Tarzan?
I did not, but it was not for lack of trying. I had been cast on another film. What was it? I was cast on something that got delayed or postponed, and I was sitting at my desk twiddling my thumbs, and everyone around me was working on Tarzan, and I tried like crazy to get the producer or somebody to let me work on it, and the response was always, nope, you're cast on another film. You be ready when that film starts. And I would have loved to have worked on it. I would have liked to have put my hands on it a little bit. Just any part of it. I would have done, cleanup animation or anything. It was an awesome movie.
Real quick, for those of you because somebody was asking about the pattern brush that I have, I'm going to go ahead and create a pattern brush. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. So I just created a new folder or document, and I'm going to create a layer on top of this document, and I'm just going to grab a black, and let's see, I'm going to grab just a regular hard round brush, and I'm going to set the opacity down a little bit. Oh, we got a little rain coming in.
Ah, cool.
And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create the spot pattern. Because some octopus will have a spot pattern on them. So we're going to do that. Now I'm going to turn off the background, and I'm going to go to Edit, define brush preset, and I'm going to hit, and it's going to give me this. I'm going to hit OK, and now look, I've got a brush. So now what I want to do is I'm going to create a new layer, and I need to adjust the settings for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my brush presets, and you can see over on the right it gives me a whole bunch of choices. The first thing I want to do is push the spacing apart, far apart, like so. Then I'm going to go into shape dynamics, and what I can do is I can flip the x-axis and the y-axis so it gets a little bit random, and then I can increase that randomness by playing with the angle jitter. Now I can also increase the randomness by pushing the size jitter. Now I'm going to go back to brush tip shape and pull them together just a little bit. So now when I draw, I've got this nice spotted pattern that I can create on my octopus. It's nice and random. See that?
It's all random.
Cheater!
Random.
Cheater!
Cheater!
So now that I've got those settings, I can save that, and now that's saved. Now, you can see how fast we created that. Let's do something that's a little bit more, just a little cooler. So I'm going to go back up, and I'm going to grab my hard round brush again, that hard round brush, and let's try something like this. Let's do shapes.
Hey, real quick. Maynard Butterus says, "Hi, Aaron. My birthday is tomorrow. Please say happy birthday, Maynard."
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Maynard!
Happy birthday!
I'm going to set this a little differently. Oh, Nick says Leonardo and Michelangelo were both known to use human cadavers to learn. In fact, there is a big tradition of that in art, and obviously Leonardo had a huge interest in science and invention. Yes.
You betcha.
So, and a lot of times, especially back in that era, you know, the scientists were artists.
Yep, it's true. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. See, I'm not the only one that says it.
I need to put that on a hat
There we go.
because
I think I picked it up from Ronnie.
you might have. I very commonly talk to myself when I'm drawing.
Yeah, but I always swear at myself.
It keeps the rest of us from swearing at you.
All right, so here we go. So this is, oh, there you go, see?
You did it again.
So here's a more defined type of pattern. And so if you ever want to create a pattern brush like this is how I do it. So you got to draw it in on its own layer. Once again, turn off the background. I'm going to go up to Edit, and I'm going to define brush preset. I'm going to hit OK. And once again, I've got that brush. Now I can, I got to open up, we got our brush presets over here. I want to go to brush tip shape and open up that spacing. There we go. You see that? You can open up that spacing. And then I want to go in and go to shape dynamics, and I want to flip the Y and the X. There we go. And I don't want to play with the size jitter too much because I want the pattern to be fairly consistent. Let me pull these together. Now the other thing I can do is I can go to shape dynamics and go to where it says angle jitter under control. I can go to direction, and now it'll follow itself. Depending on how I turn the brush, the pattern will follow. What I mean is, watch this. And let me save this. So now I got this really cool pattern. See that?
It's got a nice snake-like texture to it.
Yeah.
Like a scaly.
Yeah, and it's super opaque. So then I can go in on my opacity pressure sensitivity, and I can be really kind of sensitive with it. See there? Just create some fun patterns that way. So I'm going to go back to my octopi. Actually, this is another thing we can do. Sorry, I'm just going to do this really quick. I'm going to go to my, so it doesn't have super hard edges. I'm going to go to my eraser and grab the soft round. I'm just going to erase the edges. Just like this.
Just like so.
Just like so. Already got the other one saved. So now once again do the same thing. Edit. Define brush preset. Okay. Turn this off, turn this on. Create a new layer. And then go in here and play with the spacing again. Go to shape dynamics. I'm going to set it to direction. And I'm going to flip the X and the Y, maybe push the spacing apart just a little bit more, and let's see what we got. Got to create a new layer. Oh, that was on the eraser, sorry. Now my eraser is set for that. Now we got to go to, let's see here. Got to jump back down to this one. There we go. So now, what I want to do is we're going to push the spacing apart again, shape dynamics, direction, and we're going to flip the X and the Y, and let's see what we have. Yeah, that works a little. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
Got the soft edges. It keeps it from overlapping really bad. There you go. So I think that's going to work. Save that. Okay. Now, whoops. Now let's go back to our regularly scheduled program.
All right.
Sorry, Ronnie.
That's okay. While you were working on your brush, I gave my octopus a tattoo sleeve.
Oh, nice.
It's a Mori tattoo pattern. South Pacific. Because why not?
Because why not?
All right.
Oops.
Jade Price says, "Hi Aaron, I purchased your elephant perspective and big cats course last week, and I absolutely love it.
Good.
Very helpful in understanding the anatomy of extinct animals like the mammoth and the saber-tooth. P.S. Thanks for the reference photo packs that come with the big cats."
Absolutely.
Oh, the brush they just made would also work well for a giraffe, Erica Bay says.
Oh, it would. There we go. I like that pattern.
See how that's looking over here?
Here we go.
Oh yeah, that's a nice texture. Renata says hello.
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 All right.
Ronnie, that tattoo is awesome.
See, I wish I had it. I wish I had it on my arm now. I've got a book at home on Mori tattoos and tattoos from New Guinea and the South Pacific, and I love that primitive pattern so much.
So I want to remind you guys, we've got Ronnie Williford with us here today in case you've come in late and you're wondering who the heck is that sitting with us. That is Ronnie Williford, and his brand new course, An Introduction to Drawing, is available today in pre-order. It comes out October 16th. So if you want to get it at a discount, then go over to creatureartteacher.com and you can get Ronnie's brand new course on Introduction to Drawing for a really good price. And so if you guys are familiar with our site, then you would know that Ronnie has also done an introduction to color theory. And was it plein air painting?
Plein air painting? Yep, that's correct.
Plein air
Yep.
painting. So really great stuff, and you should go check it out.
Yeah.
And I also want to point out that the introduction to drawing is really that. So if if you're worried about needing to have any kind of skill, you don't. I mean, as long as you can hold a pencil in your hand, then you can take this course. So it's great for, anybody, including, a 5-year-old up to a 105-year-old.
I really did design it so that it would explain perfectly how anybody can do it. There's a real logical process to drawing, and everybody's got their own approach. And
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the question I get all the time is, how do you find your style? How do you get a style? I can't come up with a style.
That question gets asked on here all the time.
Does it?
Yeah.
I have young artists on Facebook and YouTube all the time, and style is one of those things that finds you. You don't find your style. You just work until it emerges.
Exactly. I've always felt that it's the reason. I mean, we're influenced by so many things in our lives, and so many people think that the style is such an individual thing, when in reality, it's the result of the influence of thousands and thousands of other things that you've kind of assimilated into your visual library.
Yes. And the things that drew your attention, and you follow those things, you follow that path, and it takes you closer and closer to the style that develops.
Exactly.
I used to have a buddy. I still have a buddy in Colorado, who's an amazing guitarist and a very fine guitar teacher, and I remember a student one time asking him about the style in playing lead guitar, and style in writing, and he always said, Dave said that style is the result of the things you never learned. The style emerges from the stuff you don't know. That the path that you go down, that you learn, these are the things that interest you, and everything that's left out reveals your style.
That's a good way of putting it.
And in my brain, I've tried to apply that thought to art, and it really is very much the same. Man, I don't know what else I can do to this guy. I've completely screwed up that paper.
I love it.
I totally got that paper dirty.
I love
it.
I don't know what else to do to it.
Well, flip it and do another one.
It's time to make a switch here.
Switcheroo.
That was a 1-hour drawing.
Was it?
Yep, that was only 1 hour. You can crank that baby.
It's
It's currently 2:34.
You cranked it.
Crank that.
I think you got at least another one in you.
Oh, I'm with luck. I've got more than that.
Also, for those of you that are just joining, tomorrow we are doing our animal drawing workshop live, and there's still time to get tickets for that. So if you go to creatureartteacher.com/live, my eraser is set to that new pattern brush. Then you can get more information there. So go to creatureartteacher.com/live. That rain again?
Yep, we got a bit of a.
We got the rain, baby.
We got a bit of a small storm coming through. Hopefully it'll get away here soon.
Doesn't sound too heavy.
No, but
poor Louisiana, man.
Yeah.
Can't believe they're gonna get pounded again.
Are they really? Is it?
Oh, it's right there. Same spot from 6 weeks ago.
Obviously, there's some scouring that needs to take place right there. Something.
By the way, do you have all your future courses written on a to-do list?
No. We've got some courses, but we're going to be making courses for years and years to come. And I'm sure there's a lot of courses that I just haven't thought of yet.
And Martin Berger says, the Bird of Prey course is so awesome. Thank you, Aaron. It helped me a lot, and I'm working on an acrylics painting of a golden eagle now.
Oh, that's great.
That's nice.
Well, I'm glad it helped. It certainly took long enough to make it. Speaking of which, Ronnie,
Yes, sir?
talk about taking long enough to make.
Oh, yeah. I spent some time in the hospital in junk. I've got
Yeah,
excuses.
well, excuses.
Yeah, I was exactly 1 year late
Yeah.
with mine. I'm trying to work it out so that this next one doesn't take that long.
Erica Bay says, I love Ronnie's courses.
Well, I love Erica Bay, so.
No, I love Erica Bay.
There can only be one.
No, I love Frankie.
Frankie's pretty cool.
What materials are you using there, Ronnie?
Oh, well, it's very specialized. This is a pencil.
And this is paper.
This is known as paper. Yeah.
Actually, I've got the jet. Oh, jeez.
This one is that your
I don't know if
hand.
you're interested or not.
It looked like your hand was holding still there. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Oh, you've
I think
already
your
got
frame's
it.
just skipping for a
I
second
I've
there.
got a whole bunch of these guys, the ebonies.
Oh, do you? I love the ebony pencils. Oh, I didn't really answer the question, did I? I like to draw with these Stabilos. I got used to animating with these at Disney, and I don't know. I love the creamy texture of them. The
Make me want to bake a cake now.
the designed ebonies are also really fine, but it's slightly harder lead. But they're of a really good quality. The manufacturers really spend a lot of time grinding down those pigments, and so you never get that chunky feeling dragging across the paper, that you can get with a cheaper pencil.
Yeah.
And
There's always some kind of chunk that's stuck in there that doesn't draw and it just scratches.
it scratches the paper, yeah, and it's due to it's due to a manufacturing flaw. They're just not grinding the graphite fine enough, and I don't even know what all they're putting into the pencil, into the graphite, to give it such a soft, smooth transfer. But this particular paper it's not expensive. It's a cheap sketchbook that you can get at the hobby store, or Walmart or whatever. I don't take expensive paper out into the field when I'm drawing outside. I'm so hard on my materials, and it's always raining or something. Or take a look at this one. Let me pull this sketchbook out. Here's a sketchbook that I've had for a few years, and they take a lot of flack. And these are drawings that I did in Mexico, and you can see where it's been raining on me, and I really
Those are
rough
great.
up these. I really rough up these sketchbooks, and so it doesn't really pay to spend a lot of money on them. And these are just intended. The sketchbooks are just intended for you to kind of spill your brains out onto. You can invest in more expensive papers later when you're ready to, do something a little more formal. But I usually don't spend a lot of money on sketchbooks because they end up lost or destroyed, and I'm just using them as an excuse to banish my thoughts. Let's see. You know what? I put that on? I put the thumb on the wrong side. It is right here, like that.
For those of you that don't know, Ronnie has a lot of knowledge on a lot of different subjects as well. One of the I'm going to tell the Johnny Cake story.
Okay, yeah.
Ronnie's nickname is Johnny Cakes because his wife Paula. I might tell the story wrong.
Oh, you go ahead. Yeah.
But his wife Paula was watching television, I guess it was, or reading.
She was reading. Yeah.
Reading, that's what it was, and it was about Johnny Cakes, right? Go ahead, Johnny Cakes in the story.
Well, yeah, and she looked up at me and goes, "I wonder what Johnny Cakes are."
Yeah. And Ronnie goes, "Well, I just happen to have a recipe here in my wallet." And pulls out a recipe for Johnny Cakes. That's just a typical Ronnie thing.
Well,
on a lot of subjects, Ronnie will be able to tell you a lot about it.
A lucky shot in the dark.
It's a life well lived.
I pay close attention to the things that draw my attention. Yeah, and I didn't mean to have a recipe for it. It just
Do I have to go bankrupt to get good art supplies?
No. Although,
I think it depends on the art, but...
Yeah, because, if you go into printmaking, that can be initially a little expensive. And I do believe that if you're going to paint with watercolor, it's really important to get good quality watercolor and a good quality brush. You don't necessarily go bankrupt with that, though. I'm a big believer in if you're going to invest the money in anything, buy the best materials you can afford.
I'm always touting that.
And the tools you use don't have to be especially fancy. You can get by on the paint boxes and things that you make yourself out of cigar boxes or whatever, but you'll have an easier time, I believe, creating what it is you've got in your mind if you have materials that don't fight you back.
We lost Nick.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose Nick?
I just haven't seen anything up there, unless there's just nothing for him to post.
Ah.
Trying to get those scales to describe that contour. And it's coming out a little flat for me.
Nick's actually going to be here tonight.
Oh,
Is he really?
Yep, for tomorrow's live event.
Question.
Sure. Shoot.
How do you find the best place and size for your character on your paper canvas?
Well, it all depends on the composition. So, your composition is going to dictate that. So, and the format of your layout and all of that. So there's an infinite number of variables that will dictate how you place your character on your it's just a character, if you're just drawing a character, sort of like what I'm doing, or I'm just drawing different character designs, then I tend to just draw them randomly, and then I fit them wherever they'll fit. This is, by the way, what I'm doing now is, you know, when I do character designs for film, or if I'm freelancing character designs for a movie or whatever, this is kind of how I initially approach it, where I'll just do shotgun blasts of just different characters like this, just seeing where it goes, you know.
And how do you get the animals to have emotions like that? That's so awesome.
What's that?
How do you get? How can you make the animals have emotions like that? That's so awesome.
Well, it comes down to understanding expressions, you know, and understanding the animal's anatomy, and then using that to your advantage. So, you know, understanding how an octopus is put together, and then being able to go in and kind of work within those confines. That's where it gets fun and creative. Understanding, you know, okay, an octopus is built this way. Now I can do this and make some fun expressions with it.
Surprise!
Hey,
Someone's here.
Brian's
Surprise.
here.
Huh?
Brian's here.
Hey, Brian.
Hey,
Did you hear us talking about you?
speak of the devil.
I didn't.
Oh.
Achilles.
I was watching in the driveway, but I put my.
Yeah, I was just
wireless
about to.
speaker-
I was just about to read out your question.
Oh, right on.
Oh, cool.
Here I am.
I'm glad you're here.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
So you're I don't know if it was nephew or niece. Someone said my Uncle Brian. They were asking if I still had drawings from when you and I were teenagers. So it was a nephew or niece of yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
We're drawing
and say hi.
cephalopods today.
Yeah, I saw it in Ryan's sea turtle there.
Yes.
Yeah, I milked all the cephalopod I could get out of that one drawing. And I'm kind of cleansing my brain here just a little.
Oh, it's Darren from the Peckford
Look,
Castle
I give
event.
you a chair.
Oh, no
Oh, I
way!
hope you guys are both well. We
Hi,
are.
Darren.
It's good to see you, bruh.
Yep.
Bruh. Bruh.
I've been visiting with him
Here you go, Brian.
via email.
Got
A little
party
bit.
crashers.
Thank you very much.
I've got Brian's one too. I moved it. Oh, I'll get that afterwards. So we're just doing Cephalopod week. So we're doing cephalopods, octopus, squid. I'm gonna do some other sea creatures.
Is this an upcoming course you're planning then?
No,
Well.
just having fun today.
Right on.
Man, it is pouring now.
It is. Just got my oil changed locally, so I thought I'd come by and
Oh, there you
saw
go.
that you guys were online, so I wanted to send Dustin a message first before knocking on the door
Oh,
and
I'm glad you did.
making a bunch of noise.
There we go.
There. I'm looking wet and listening.
As a creature of the ocean would. See what Ronnie's doing?
There you go.
Look at that cute little sea turtle.
I don't know if I have his valves working, if they're anatomically, if they're right. Can't tell.
There's only one siphon on a octopus, and it swings back and forth from side to side.
Oh, really? It's
Um,
not on both sides?
It comes. It's almost like
Or
in
does
the
it-
center back here.
Oh, and it just kind of rolls
and
underneath?
yeah.
Now I understand.
Yeah,
So I do have it wrong. Oh, what the hell?
and that's from just the ones I've seen. I've never actually gotten in tight and studied how that physiology works, but I've seen them swing it back and forth, using it to propel them.
What says, I miss Elvis, Dustin.
I know.
I'm sure you don't. Lemonade. A lot cool, refreshing drink.
That's Eddie Murphy doing Elvis.
Uh-huh. Oh.
Whoops. So here's a bunch of octopi. Let me see. I see how it works now. Let me see if I can.
I really like the juxtaposition here between two different media types. We've got
Yeah, me
traditional
too.
drawing on one camera, and we've got digital media going on the other. That's fantastic.
Yeah. We're also experimenting with the new cameras that we recently got.
Yes. Oh, that trailer that you just did, fantastic.
Yeah, that was
Very
fun.
nice.
That was fun to work on.
Okay, let me see.
That
Images.
doesn't feel too bad.
Aaron, do your courses apply to traditional mediums, or are they designed for digital artists?
A lot of the information, it doesn't matter what medium you work in, especially the how to draw animals courses. I'm using digital media just as for ease of teaching, but it doesn't really matter. The only time that the medium matters is when I'm specifically teaching a medium, like watercolor or oil or charcoal. Most of the time, my course is on, say, perspective or lighting or things like that. It's not really dependent upon the medium. It's all theory that you apply to whatever medium that you're working in. There you go.
Oh, there you go. And a question for Brian: how was it walking on the moon?
Oh, it was a lot later than I am now.
And that's all the questions I got.
And that's all I got.
And that's all I got.
I'm gonna do one more octopi. Having fun trying to do the expressions.
Look here, this question I almost missed. Why is Squidward from SpongeBob named Squidward when he's an octopus?
Don't know.
I don't think there's a biological reason for that. Just off the top of my head, I would guess it's because he's a cartoon.
So I saw you got your Raptor course all done.
Got the Raptor
Birch
course
Break.
is completely done,
Nice.
and that was 4 months in the making. It turned out to be our biggest course, and that was. I'm never going to do that again.
Many, many months of work.
And it's just huge. To download it, it's really huge.
How many gigs of information you supposed to
Many.
Lots.
I don't know off
just-
the top of my head.
Like at least a few. I would say raw footage, at least a few hundred gigs at least, more or less.
Let's talk about Ronnie's. I want to talk about Ronnie's drawing course a little bit, just for people to what to expect. Ronnie, do you want to talk about some of what you have in the course?
Well, yeah, I kind of, I've always kind of felt like drawing was one of those things that could be broken down into its most simple shapes. Like they know circles and triangles and squares, and I think we all kind of start drawing by taking the shapes we already know, and first of all you start learning how to turn circles into spheres and squares into boxes, squares and rectangles, and You learn to take triangles and make them into cones and pyramids, and then the next normal step is to take those things and put them together and use them to build structure, to understand dimension and perspective, and to give that illusion, that magic trick of something three-dimensional looking appear on a flat surface. And I really took it all the way down to its most basic forms and started building up the course from there, just so that there wouldn't be any fear. It's all things that you're familiar with, and as you kind of go through it, you go, oh, that makes sense. That what you thought was all of this magical talent is just engineering and very practical ways of thinking. Eventually, you start drawing kind of mathematics into the equation, and so that's where perspective comes from. And I try to include a little bit of art history, but I don't want to get into a lot of detail. I wanted to make a course so that it would bring everybody up in a really logical, gentle, and fun way. So the course, once you get into perspective, then I go through and start showing how very simple ways to get very realistic representations of the human head and faces and skulls, and how you can sort of use practical geometry to nail those things every time, and to be really structural with them. I go through a video that's just basic anatomy, the beginnings of anatomy, where it's about proportions and drawing the skeleton and what the different bones, what their limitations are, and what they're capable of, and how those limitations are what give us our mobility. What else is in there? There's a whole video dedicated just to games and optical illusions and just playing.
That one's kind of fun. I like that one.
Yeah, and there's one that's dedicated to life drawing and taking your sketchbook out to the zoo and drawing animals on location, or not just animals, drawing anything out on location. If you're interested in cityscapes and buildings, you can take your sketchbook out and do that. Landscapes and farms, and you can draw anything. You can go into like coffee shops and draw people. I wanted to include all the tools necessary to make it possible for someone to be able to begin doing that and feel comfortable. Have I overlooked anything? There are several other videos in there too. I do a demo at the end that's kind of a beginning to end demo showing how we take all the things we've learned from the video class and apply it to one final drawing. I don't know.
So you're saying there's not much there?
You won't be buying much. No, it's
That's what I love about your courses. They're always very thorough.
I try to.
We try to give you your money's worth here at CreatureArtTeacher.com.
That's right.
CreatureArtTeacher.com.
Well, I wanted to include everything that would be necessary in order to be able to come out the other side going, oh, I'm not scared of this anymore.
Yeah.
This I totally understand why this isn't something to be afraid of, but something that with practice you just keep getting better. God, I hate using the word practice. That's not because
But it is. I mean, you can, however you want to define it.
yeah,
But I mean, it's doing it a lot.
just yeah, going out and drawing. If you're having fun, it's not like practice.
Right. You're just doing it.
you're
Do
just
it because you
doing
love it and do it a lot.
Yeah. So that's the description of the course.
Just real quick, I want to interrupt you. Nick is asking if the fan is blowing right at the mic. It seems like it got a lot louder. I think Nick's hearing is being very sensitive.
It hasn't changed. And I don't
No, it
think
hasn't changed.
anything's
I'm just
changed.
kidding.
I think it's just I think it was the rainfall.
Oh, that's what it was, Nick. The rain was coming down.
That makes
I
sense.
mean, if anything, it could just shift the fan just a little bit over maybe, but yeah, it was downpouring like
It was
crazy
dumping.
just a bit ago.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's something for him to look forward to driving.
Hey, Ronnie, how'd you end up at Disney?
Well, I took a left turn at Albuquerque.
Hmm.
No, actually, I had been offered an opportunity to go to work for Disney Animation when I was in high school, and when they just to shorten the story, through a series of events, by the time I had graduated high school, they had begun disassembling the animation studio in California. They were getting ready to stop making animated films, and at that time, my brother was sculpting. He was doing these big sculptures for civic installations, and he would sculpt for shows and organizations, and he'd won some big awards, and his work was really popular, and he couldn't keep up with it. So instead of going to Disney, I went to Colorado where he lived, and I began working on his sculpture. I was doing everything from wax pouring to welding and metal chasing and patinas. I was doing everything except the actual pouring of the sculpture. And while I was doing that, instead of going to college, I began studying with professional artists. I learned printmaking from a guy named Skip Whitcomb. I learned about oil painting from a Korean painter named Kang Cho and from Lynn Schmiel. I took drawing from Ned Jacob. A guy named John Zahorik was teaching anatomy, and I learned all my human anatomy from John Zahorik. So I spent time working on sculpture and studying, studying to be an artist. And in the meantime, I was showing in galleries, and everything was going very well. And I had been working as a professional artist for 15 years, and the opportunity to go to Disney again emerged. As we all know, they made The Little Mermaid, and the studio didn't close. It sort of fused like a new renaissance for animation, and I had come to Florida to. I was supposed to go to a show. I had sent work to a show that was in St. Petersburg, and instead of going to the show, my wife and I went to Disney World, and we discovered the animation studio at Disney MGM, and I went, oh, there was a time when I was supposed to do this, and and I sent a portfolio, and and some dumbass named Aaron Blaise looked at my portfolio. I ended up. They ended up bringing me on to work on Mulan, and then I just stayed. I didn't leave. I worked on Hunchback a little bit, and then we made Mulan, and we kind of, people mixed and matched and moved around, and you get loaned out to the California studio, to work on their projects a little bit. I didn't get to work on Tarzan, but I did get to work on Atlantis, The Lost Empire, which was really fun. And by the time that was ending, Lilo and Stitch was coming on, and you just I kind of stayed cast on the next film, and until they closed the studio. So did I answer the question?
I don't know. You rambled a lot.
I talked a lot. But that's how I ended up at Disney.
You answered it perfectly.
I ended up there by chance, because I had an opportunity in my youth and didn't get to go. So I think of my time at Disney as the completion of my drawing education, because I was a competent draftsman, and certainly understood the mechanics of drawing and things like that. But at Disney, I learned to evoke emotion in my drawings, and I got used to the idea of taking things and turning them in 3 dimension, in my head. And there are very specific methods and rules to follow in order to pull that stuff off. Those are all the things that I learned while I was there. And when you're working on, during crunch time, and you're working 16-hour days, 7 days a week, and you'll do that for a couple of years, for each film, you sort of can't help but get good, it added that extra layer onto my drawing knowledge that has been really invaluable ever since. Because since then, I've worked on video games and other films and TV shows, and it's all because of that baptism in fire that you get working on those Disney films. And that's all I got to say about that.
And that's all I got.
And that is all I got.
Does the Birds of Prey course come with a reference photo pack? No. There's a few photos in there, but no. There's. I wouldn't count on it as a reference photo pack. We will be trying to get more in the future of reference photos. Ronnie is stepping out for just a little bit.
I'll be right back.
Just a few minutes. 12 hours later. We lost Ronnie.
Ronnie and I both have old man bladders. It's okay.
No, me too.
I've had to bow out a couple times.
Just joking around. Is it?
It's okay. I'm just joking around.
Don't worry about it. I'm just messing with you. Is it advisable to go and sketch something like animals in the zoo before learning anatomy and other art fundamentals?
I mean, you can go and sketch animals at the zoo anytime you want. It helps to have a bed of knowledge of understanding what you're drawing. Now, granted, when you go and draw before you understand the anatomy, you're gonna learn anyway. But it really does help to understand the anatomy a little bit before you go in. But at the same time, I did a lot of my learning by drawing from life, so it goes hand in hand. And once you start understanding the anatomy, then you got to draw them from life to understand the real world applications of that knowledge, because we all can learn from books how a certain muscle sits and shows itself on an animal, but you're never going to really understand it or see the variety of ways that muscle or bone or whatever can present itself until you see those animals in person and you start to understand, oh, there's any number of ways that this particular piece of anatomy can present itself, and as long as I have that understanding, then it gives me a lot of creative freedom to do that.
How do you and Brian know each other?
We went to high school together. Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yep.
A couple of years ago.
Yep. Back in 1984 we met?
Well, I'd say probably it was 1982.
82, that's right, 82.
I think you guys graduated last year.
Yeah, well, a lot of people think that. 82. That's right, 84, 2 years before we graduated, of course.
I was in Sweden in 84, 85.
That's right.
So we met in ninth grade algebra.
Yep. 9th grade algebra class.
And we did probably more drawing than we did math problems.
Yeah. And we've stayed friends ever since.
And once again, that is all I got.
That's all I got. We've had Brian on the show before, and his son James.
Indeed. Remember the well, the possums.
Yeah, the
Had
possums,
brought the
yeah.
possums over.
With Ronnie, yeah.
Yeah, with
Out to the
Ronnie.
farm a few times.
And Travis drew with us as well.
That's right.
Welcome
I've got
back.
4 octopi.
Yeah,
That's nice.
for the
Oops. There we go.
Hey, can I give a shout out to somebody?
Yes.
I don't know if they're watching right now,
Please.
but John Angelo in the Philippines. I'm really liking your artwork, and I think it's fantastic that you can do what you do with your feet alone.
John Angelo in the Philippines. Oh, does he draw with his feet?
He's got cerebral palsy. He does
Oh,
a
that's
fantastic
awesome.
job
Oh.
with his feet.
what's his name again?
John Angelo Diaz. It's several names after that.
Well, right
That's
now in
not
the
it.
Philippines it is 3:14 in the morning.
Is it really?
Might
he's-
not be watching.
Probably not watching. Yeah. Yeah, it's a 12-hour difference from here. But he might watch it later.
Who knows?
Well, I think I got a friend request from him because I think he watches your programs.
Oh, right on.
And he had seen me on one previous episode.
So for these, you can see, especially working digitally, you can be kind of loose and be quick and still, create some fairly three-dimensional, nice sketches, but you can do a lot of them in a short amount of time. This is just an hour and a half's worth of work, and I've got 4 full color sketches with different expressions, and I know a lot of guys that can do a lot more than this, a lot quicker. So, this is my method where I can sit down for a day and come up with 15 or 20 sketches that look like this, and I can send them off and have a director or an art director or character designer look at them, and we can work back and forth. So that's kind of a method that I use for doing character design like this. Try something different. What you drawing, Ronnie? Switch over to Ronnie's. I want to see what he's doing.
I'm Cephalopoding again.
Cephalopod. Oh, cool.
Have you ever been underwater with an octopus and had them squeeze between a rock
In a hard place?
and well, or even they get so flat and
Yes.
so
Well, I've seen them squeeze through little tiny holes.
Yeah, it's like toothpaste coming out.
Oh yeah, very cool. Yeah, it is. It's like toothpaste. Switch over to this screen, Dustin, real quick.
Uh-huh.
Oops.
Switched over, she.
Oops. Got it. Where'd it go? Where'd my picture go?
Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
So this is an octopus that I photographed. About 5 years ago, I was living on the beach down in Stuart, Florida, and there was a reef right off of where my house was, and I used to go out and dive on that reef quite a bit. And one day I went out and saw this octopus out there and photographed them underwater. They're not great photos, but it was a pretty cool experience. It was this octopus. This is all in one day. And then the sea turtle, this green sea turtle, came swimming by. And then we got all these shots of, are these porgies? Is that what they're called?
Yes,
Yeah, porgies.
that's correct.
I love that painting that you did of them, where there's about 1 billion of them in the painting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That giant one. And then I've always liked these fish. These are called lookdowns.
They're always real close to the surface.
Very cool looking fish.
They swim just below the surface.
But all these, this is all just like a 2-hour dive, and this is just snorkeling. This is only in about 6 feet of water, and you see all this life. This is right off of where I was living. It was just a really fun place to live, because I could sit and I could draw, do my work, and then I'd grab my snorkel gear and go out and dive for an hour and a half during lunch, and then come back and go back to work.
By the way,
That's the way to live, man.
did we ever
Yeah.
figure out the name of the fish that was speared by the blue heron when we were at Black Point?
It's some kind of sunfish. I'm not sure what kind.
It was this.
Oh. Yeah. You know what? I don't recognize that fish.
Yeah, why don't you jump back to Ronnie's
Uh-huh.
drawing, because I'm just doing stuff right now.
There's,
There we go.
I think it's really cool that you were able to come across an octopus during the day.
Yeah,
'Cause
I thought so too.
I have photographed them a little bit in the daytime, but almost always when I got good pictures of them, it was at night.
are they nocturnal?
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the most active at night.
They're squishy and easy to eat, so they come out in the daytime. Fish see them, and it's just like an hors d'oeuvre. That's why that octopus is missing. He's missing like 2 or 3 limbs.
Mm.
No, they regenerate their limbs, yes.
They do, yeah. And I didn't think they did until I watched the my octopus teacher on Netflix. George, question: have either of you ever drawn a hagfish? They're different.
A hagfish.
Hagfish.
Aren't hagfish the ones with the round mouth, and they look like
I don't know.
made from nightmares?
They've got they got like big lips.
Yeah, and they tie themselves into a knot and create this slime where you can't get them off.
Oh, it's
Well,
like,
like-
like a sticky goo.
Yeah, and they've got just goo.
Oh yeah, that is the stuff of night.
You know, I've never had
I've seen them. I've never drawn one.
I've never had a reason
Never had a reason to draw a hagfish.
there sometimes if you're working, and you're just creating things using the stuff that that draws your attention, you don't get around to using everything.
Well, what's cool is something like a hagfish. If you look at the mouth on the hagfish, they're really gross. If it's the one I'm thinking of, is that
Yeah, it's got a dune-like mouth.
Yeah, like all the
It's like-
exactly.
It's a lamprey kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
and so if you look at that, what's great is if you broaden your biological knowledge like that, then you can start using that stuff for creature design.
Yeah, you just call upon it.
And I want to show you really quick. I've got a. Let me see if I can find it.
Let's do that.
Come on. Loading. Yeah, stick with Ronnie's because I'm trying to find.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what this does.
Of course, it doesn't come up here. But I'm sure if I go to my Dropbox up here, I'll find it. I was just looking it up the other day and it popped right up. For some reason, it's not popping up here.
Uh-oh.
Once you've collected so much visual scrap to work from, it can be a real nightmare trying to keep it in order.
Ah, yes.
Well, I just do it this way if I can't find it. Come up here. Oops. Click on this. And I will find it because I'm hoping I'm not.
Does Ronnie live in Florida too?
I not only live in Florida, I live right over there. Just right down the road.
Yep. Right down the street.
At least, like 10, 15-minute drive from here?
Yeah. Yep. I kind of fell in love with Florida. Really, even before went to work for Disney, I really loved coming down here, and I love painting boats. I like painting water.
Have you gotten Aaron to show you around the Everglades yet?
No, we haven't been down to the Everglades together.
Yeah, we got to do that.
I've spent some time down there.
That'd be fun.
It would be.
So you don't get lost.
It's a matter of whether or not you're on a boat out in the ocean.
Well,
You alright?
Well, I'm trying to find this image, and now I'm completely losing my mojo
oh,
because I'm losing the steam because I can't find it now.
I lost my mojo.
Oops.
Now, Ronnie, when you've been photographing octopi in the past, did any of them interact with you?
yeah, I've spent a lot of time playing with them and kind of I've always had this sort of rule where I try not to touch things necessarily when I'm diving.
Mm-hmm.
Things are so fragile down there.
Sure.
But when I was photographing Octopus one night, it was real late one night off the coast of Grand Cayman. The flash from my camera was really interesting to them, and so the flash will go off, and then you'll find them coming towards the camera and wrapping around the flash unit. I'm really showing my age here because underwater cameras don't have those big long arms anymore with the lamps at the top. But once they start climbing you and interacting with you, then it's all is fair in love and war then. And
Did you find them to be gentle?
Yeah, but I was nervous about them all the time.
Mhm.
They can be really aggressive and bitey, you know.
Right. And they have a pretty good beak on them, don't they?
If they decide to wrap around your arm and bite, you can't get them off.
Yeah.
But I've never had them attached to me or anything necessarily. I had similar experiences with moray eels, where moray eels can also be really nocturnal, and when the flash goes off, they're super interested in what that is, you know.
Mhm.
But
What was your job on Brother Bear, Ronnie?
oh man, I did so many things on Brother Bear. I spent a good bit of time working with the two lead animators that were working on Rut and Took, and there's a real problem in trying to animate a deer or a moose or an elk and keep the antlers solid to the skull. If you're not careful, they can be kind of swimmy and not, you know. And so these guys devised a system where they were animating Rut and Took with no antlers at all. And in Maya, they had built a 3D model of Rut's skull with the antlers and Took's skull with the antlers. And to get to the answer faster, it was one of my primary jobs working on Rut and Took was I would take those drawings and they would be scanned and we pull them up into the computer, and I would line the skulls up with the drawing. They would kind of onion skin over the top of each other, and I would turn the skull in 3 dimensions till I got it to line up with their drawings. And then we would scan that, and I'd bring that back to my desk and draw those antlers onto their drawings from the 3D models. And then I'd go in and animate the in-betweens. I would do all the drawings between those keys, just regular, like we would animate anything. And having those keys with the solid, you know, anchored antlers, we ended up getting really good results in the animation afterwards. That was one of my jobs on Brother Bear.
We actually got a question here, real quick, another question on this end. You're doing a very interesting technique holding your pencil sideways. Can you explain that a bit, please?
Are you talking about this? You know, when we were in elementary school, like in first grade, you know, the teacher shows you how to load that pencil in between these 3 fingers so that you can write your letters and practice, you know, your A's and your B's and your C's, and you go and you move your fingers, you anchor your hand and you move your fingers to write. And it's not uncommon for kids, once they've been taught that, they'll do all their drawing that way too. And you know, and there are some tools, like for instance, digital tools, where that's still the case. You know, you hold your stylus so that you get a good straight-on contact with your screen, and drawing with ink, same kind of a thing. But traditionally, for artists, the way they've always been taught is to hold the pencil like it's a brush. You don't choke up on it on the lead here. You hold it back a little bit. You kind of hold it in a balanced place. And you're not anchoring your wrist and drawing from this pivot point. Your elbow and your shoulder are up in the air, and you might touch the paper with one of your fingers to guide you while you're putting down your marks, but you get a much more flowing sort of natural look to your lines and your line of action and your composition. It just it's more of a traditional way of holding a pencil, and I hold my brushes like this. Like I said, the only time it doesn't work is if you're trying to use it on digital. There's no real way. Well, Aaron would know. There's no way to hold your stylus any other way.
Well, you can have brushes that'll work somewhat from the side. They're angle sensitive, but no,
Okay.
not like what you do.
Like, yeah, I know that's coming. Like, I'm sure that's coming down the pipe.
Somewhere down the road,
But,
I'm sure.
And you know, if you're drawing with ink, if you're drawing with like ballpoint or gel point or something, then you're gonna have to hold it the way you were taught, you know, as a kid. But traditionally, you know, when you learn figure drawing for the first time and you're drawing out in the field, you do it holding the pencil away from the lead and making it like a paintbrush, treating it more like a brush. Boy, that's a lot of words. That's a lot of explanation for not much payoff.
That is perfect.
How do you train yourself not to draw too small?
Don't draw small.
You know,
Draw big.
that's a problem for me still. I don't know about you, Aaron. I have
I
real,
always draw too big.
I have a thing where I get excited and I start drawing, and my placement on the paper will be bad. You know,
Oh yeah, I do that. I
I'm
think we're all
forever at
guilty
the
of
zoo drawing, and the head of the animal comes off the page because I placed it badly, and maybe drawing small is a timid thing. I will say this about drawing small: you'll keep your mistakes small,
that.
so that you can go back and go, oh, I'm going to do this again, and we'll correct it.
I'll tell you what, it's one of the reasons I have a big Cintiq, because I like to draw big.
Yeah.
I can't stand drawing on the little, the 13-inch. You know, they're fine for when I travel and that sort of thing. But I have a hard time drawing that small. I've gotten so used to drawing large.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know.
But you use what you can. And you know, I always like going big with my, you know, if I'm drawing at the zoo, I like to bring not just if I have enough time, I don't bring a sketchbook. I like bringing like a newsprint pad and
Right.
using that,
Yeah.
and you know, getting really big with it that way.
Detlef is asking, guys, what would be your most favorite color when doing watercolors and why? Mine is Pyrrhine Violet or Payne's Gray because of how deep the darks are on damp paper.
I love using ultramarine for all the uses that it has, especially adding shadows. It's my personal. That's such an art geeky question, Detlef.
Yeah, it really is. It's making me short circuit because when you're doing watercolors, like the environment is so sensitive to theme, you know, I don't know how to answer that because I feel like I need them all. I feel like
You need them all?
yeah, I need all the colors. I
No,
need
them all. You said them all. You need them all.
oh no
The Maul Red. Darth Maul Red.
No, the Coastland Mall.
The Coastland Mall.
The Ultimate
The-
Mall.
the what?
Ultimate Mall.
The West Oaks Mall. Why is rotating paper while drawing is sometimes discouraged? Is it a bad habit to develop?
I have no idea. That's not one that I've ever heard of before. That it's a bad. Why is it? I've never heard of that being discouraged.
yeah I did
It's like telling people they can't use their left hand. I don't know.
yeah that's not
Aren't your animation desks even a swivel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our discs are set up to swivel.
well and the way we worked in cleanup was you were always trying to pull the pencil towards you. You were never pushing a pencil. In animation, it doesn't matter. But when I was working in the cleanup department early on, you if you needed to draw something up here, you spun the disc around so that you could pull the line rather than push the line.
Yeah.
You had more control pulling it.
Walking the line.
That's the closest thing I can think of to answering that question. I think it's necessary to turn the paper sometimes.
Yeah, you have to. Never heard that one.
Whatever works. Whatever gets your drawing out.
Whoever asked that question, whoever your teacher was that told you that, you go back and you tell them they're wrong.
You tell them we said so.
Tell them mind their own business.
There we go.
Angela Pinal says, Aaron, I just wanted to thank you for all
You're
your
welcome.
live streams and tutorials. They have helped me immensely. You rock.
Thank you.
And also, there's
Glad.
there's also an amazing Netflix show called My Octopus Teacher. I highly recommend it.
Yes, we've been talking about it. It's great.
I have yet to watch it.
I know that
Who
it's
is
going to
that
happen
Mary?
to me eventually. I'm going to have a look at it.
Yeah, you got to check it out. It's pretty doggone good.
Don't know what I'm up against here.
Yeah. How much time we got? It's 3:40. We'll take
Good.
it till
Just
about.
better.
We'll take it till 4.
Sounds
For what?
good. Sounds like a deal.
Sounds like a
See
plan.
if I can create a school of these corgis in 20 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, just once you finish one, then just copy and
That's
paste
why I'm
and
going
just.
to use Photoshop Magic, baby.
Get out your porgy brush.
Photoshop magic.
You blew the surprise, Dustin. Thanks very much. Dustin. Dustin,
Yes.
you're fired.
Okay. I'll go pack up my things.
You're fired.
You're fired.
Can I-
Guess I'll just go back to Canada.
You're Canadian. Take off, eh?
Take off, you user.
I'd like to do something different with that.
Uncle Travis on says, "Hello, brothers."
Hello, Travis.
Mr. Trav.
Hey, Travis, Brian's here too.
Hi, Travis.
Yep, there he is.
That one. Hello, Travis. Hello, Newman.
Hello, little uncle. Is that Brian I see in the backdrop?
Yes, we just said that. All right.
What kind of fish is that you're drawing there, Ronnie?
This is a look down fish.
A look down
Ah.
fish.
I'm just kind of drawing him out of my memory here. They're super thin.
Yeah.
You know, when they are coming towards you, it's really a cartoon. They're just a
They're
real
just a
thin.
sliver.
Yeah.
They're very much like what kind of fish is that Dory's based off of? Like
She's a
angelfish?
Dory.
What is
Oh.
it?
Yeah, Dory. She's a Dory.
That's really what they're called?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought that was her name, not the fish name.
Yeah. Species name.
Species name.
Yeah.
I had no idea. The more you know.
Bah, bah, bah.
There's a whole sort of a. They're not of the same species, but there's a whole kind of fish that spends their entire life just below the surface, just just below the interface where the air and the water come together. And look down fish are one of those
Yeah.
fish that they spend almost their entire life just below the surface.
Is she a tang? Is she part of the tang family?
No,
Like just
Being
below
thin acts
like
like
around a
camouflage.
coral?
Yeah, exactly.
Just like you can be out in fairly open water and you'll see look down fish just below the surface, or another one is they're called needlefish,
I think I've heard of those.
and it's a kind of a billfish. Once again, order them in restaurants.
Yeah, we used to see them everywhere when we were kids growing up in Naples. Catch needlefish for bait.
There's a version of the needlefish where it's the bottom lip that's a long point. They're like a little swordfish.
They'll get going
Yeah.
too, and they'll like ballyhoo. They go.
Oh
across the
yeah, on
water.
their tail.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the needlefish.
Oh, there you go. That's them with the
Oh, no,
with the
no.
bottom bottom lip sword.
Yep.
Yeah, blue tang. That's what I was saying. I think she's a tang. I said that afterwards. But she, I thought there was a Dory fish. But anyway, yeah, I was trying to correct myself, but I was mumbling, so it doesn't count.
Yep, old man talk.
Yeah. She's a blue tang.
Looking at these needlefish reminds me a lot of barracudas. Like, are barracudas the same as, or like a, or is barracuda like a completely different species from needlefish?
I don't know how
Well,
the
it's a
genus
different
crosses
species.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if they're in the same family or not. Alright, here we go. We're going to take this and this, put that in the folder. And we're going to copy that. Copy that.
Copy that, Ghost Rider.
And we're going to move it. Put it on top. And we're going to make it bigger.
Make it bigger.
Yep. Like so. Put it right here. Make it, merge, group, filter. And we'll put it like he's swimming through a shadow. I'm going to create a little depth here. Adjustments, hue saturation. Let's darken that a little bit like he's in shadow.
There you go.
Make him a little bigger. Kind of swimming off swimming. There we go. So let's make another one. And another one. Write it down. Another one. Write it down. Alright. these two. We're going to go edit, free transform. We're just going to shrink them up a little bit. And we're going to move these underneath. We'll put this guy on top. There we go. Now watch this. We're going to create a layer right here. And I'm going to fill that with blue. And now I'm going to knock that blue back just enough. Like that. And then we're going to go. We've made them smaller already. I'm going to make them a little smaller. Highlight this guy, and we're going to move right over him. Make a little school of fish. Look at that. We're having fun now, folks. And now let's take this guy and copy that. And let's take it and let's copy that.
Aaron doing the one more thing? I don't know. Not quite yet, I don't think.
And now I don't even know which ones are my copies. Okay, so let's take it and move it. Got to move it. Let's do here. I'm going to put this one down below everybody.
Do you typically name your layers as you're working, Aaron?
I should, but I don't.
Do as I say, don't do what I do.
Yeah. If I get really complex, then yes, I'll name them. So I'm gonna take those. Oops. Am I missing one somewhere? Oh. Oh, 5. There it is. Duh. Okay, I want to take these two and put them down below. That's what I want. That's what I'm doing wrong. Okay, we're going to put those there, and we're going to shrink them. There we go. Make them even smaller. We get a little overlap with the other fish. Right there. There we go. And we're going to take them, and we're going to put another layer in between them, and we're going to fill that with yet more blue. So as our fish recede further and further, we get more and more blue covering them up. There we go. And let's do these two and copy them. And we're going to put them underneath. Let's move, shrink them. We'll put them back here. Look at that, we're creating a school.
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere. And let's copy them, move them.
Let's show real quick on what Ronnie is working on over here.
I'm just filling it with look down fish now. I don't know what I'm doing. This is just a stream of consciousness.
There we go.
Just kind of winging it.
Yeah, just having fun.
Move these.
Drawing's supposed to be
Down
fun.
here.
Don't make it work.
That's right. I'm going to put them down here. There we go, like that. I want to put a little space between them.
Oh, let's do this. Sharpen that point.
Put a layer there. We're going to fill that. And we'll knock that back a little bit, creating more atmosphere. There we go. The one in the foreground, I want to darken that even more. But I don't want it to be all by himself. So let's create another one. Oops, I create another one. Become a little bigger. Right about here. We'll go image adjustments, saturation, a little darker, and then filter. Push his blurriness just a little bit. He's really close to camera. There we go. So now let's do. Let's go over this one. And do these streaks. I'm going to set this to overlay. First, let's do this. Overlay.
Barracuda.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with yellow. See if that works. I'm gonna go to my gradient tool. I'm gonna come down like this. You want it to feel warmer up top. Just a little bit, not too much. Now let's go. Let's go here. I'm gonna go on top of this one. Set that to multiply. And I'm going to go to dark blue, deep dark blue. Come from the bottom. And get a little darker on the fish down there. This guy. I want to put him there, and then I can erase here. We're gonna get this feeling really cool.
That's a lot of hooks.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking about a barracuda that I had seen in Isla Morada. It scared the crap out of me on a shipwreck.
They'll do that. You'll look at them and they'll be there, and you turn around and they're not there anymore.
Yeah. I was diving in a Coast Guard cutter that was sunk, and there were still file cabinets in the on board the ship in the offices there, and I was opening file cabinets and fish were going exploding out of the drawers, you know.
Mhm.
And it was so fun. You go down and open a drawer and have the fish fly out, and I had fish come out one time, and I backed up and caught something into the corner of my eye. You're a little bit tunnel visioned with a mask on.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't know it was there until I had turned into it, but there was a barracuda head about this long looking into the drawers where, you know, it was looking at the fish that
Yeah.
were coming out.
Wow.
And he had fishing lures all around his mouth.
Really?
Hanging down, yeah. And that was what inspired this little drawing. I was just thinking about that.
Now, set this opacity down.
Man, it is pouring out.
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to hear more static, Nick. We're going to go filter, blur, Gaussian blur. We're going to blur those streaks coming down.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to set them to overlay,
that.
maybe.
Oh yeah.
Just get a little bit of streaking in there. I'm going to grab my sir. Really big.
Probably nothing compared to what they're getting in Louisiana right now.
Oh yeah.
I know. Here we go.
Let's check Louisiana.
I've got 4 minutes. I'm gonna use my cheap brush now.
They can't take anything on that.
I know, it's crazy.
I think they already had high water with this one coming in.
Yep.
Mark says, I think Ronnie and Brian will be swinging home today, according to the raining outside.
It's bad.
Hey, bad.
That's Florida, though. We've had our whole summer's been like that.
Mark says, no static noise today, just the sound of rain.
Sweet summer rain.
Sweet summer rain.
I don't know what I'm doing here. I lost my compositional thread.
You're a compositional thread.
You're a compositional thread.
I say I have a real appreciation watching you work around your tool set there, Aaron. I pay Adobe each month for access to the full suite of programs that they have.
Yeah.
I was recently opening up one that the last version I used of it is 20 years old, and I was so confused when I opened it up. The tools had all
Yeah.
changed. So
Oh, it is.
watching you flip from one tool to the next, knowing exactly where you're going is something to watch.
Yeah, and the thing it enables you to do, like creating a school of fish from one fish, you know, and create the depth and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of fun. Now, it's all kind of flat right now. One thing we know is that it's not this flat in real life. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this and this, I'm going to put it all into one folder. I'm going to copy that folder, turn that off, and I'm going to merge that group. Now I'm going to come up to image adjustments and exposure, and we're going to push this a little bit. I'm going to go a little darker,
Push it to the limit.
and then push that exposure a little bit. And it's going to give us something a little more contrasty, a little more vibrant. There, we got a school of fish from one fish.
Awesome.
Erica says, I need another workshop with Aaron and Ronnie. I miss it.
You know what? We need another workshop with you, Erica.
Yes, we do. And let's flop it, see if we like it.
And Cora says, don't forget to save your work.
Oh yeah, I haven't done that. Gotta save them. Especially with the storm.
Mm-hmm.
There, bunch of porgies. Ronnie, that was fun.
Oh man, thanks for having me. This was awesome.
You want to show everybody all the work that you guys did today for the stream?
Yeah, pull up Ronnie's. Keep his going because I'm saving right now.
Are you?
Yep. So show all the work you guys that you
Animate this for you.
did.
There we go.
Got a looks like if Jason Momoa was turned to an octopus with that tattoo.
That's right. Yeah, I could have done all kinds of Poseidon type stuff to this. I didn't think about.
Yeah.
Just
You got-
play. It's amazing we get done what we do
I know, right?
because ideas come flying at you.
Then after they made the turtle,
Turtle.
I'll show that.
Where is that? There he is.
QC
With
turtle.
the little squid underneath him.
Oh,
Squidward.
yeah.
There we go.
And then you got your then that little guy.
Yeah.
With I'm just gonna call that barracuda
I
hook.
don't know what I was doing here. I just kind of. But I wanted an opportunity to draw that look down fish straight
Yeah.
on,
They're really that thin?
Yeah, they're really, really thin.
Didn't realize they were that thin.
Oh
Holy
yeah,
moly.
super thin.
They're inedible.
Yeah, hardly
Get a
any meat.
wafer thin piece
Wafer-
of meat.
Wolf
Wafer
a thin,
thin.
thin crisp. And then over here.
Yeah, adding a little bit more color to our fish. Now, one thing I can do is I can come over here. I'm going to merge these layers together. And now I'm going to come up here and go into my blend mode and go to color dodge. Set that to about 38%. Let's see. Create. What are the white lines that the wave patterns create? Ronnie? Is it not lenticular, it's what's it called?
That causes that?
Yeah, there's a term for that, I can't remember now. The light patterns.
Yeah,
The lenticular?
Light wave? Or
The
the.
lenticular is,
with an L, right? Lenticular.
I know Nick will tell us in a second. So we create the little, I've got it on color dodge. I'm able to create these little, when they cross over each other, you can get them really bright.
Oh, there we go.
There, that's the nice final finishing touch. It gives it a nice little touch.
Individualized.
It's exactly right. So it doesn't feel so, they don't feel so
Repetitive.
pasted.
Oh, that. Nick says.
Caustic or God rays. Thank you.
God rays.
There we go. So anyway, remember, Ronnie's course is available in pre-order right now at creatureartteacher.com. So go over and check that out. It's going on up for sale on October 16th. And so you've got about a week, or exactly a week, to get over there and get it at a great discount. And then also remember, we've got our live event tomorrow where I'm talking about animal drawing, and you can still get tickets for that. That's over at creatureartteacher.com/live. And then one more thing, if you are interested in animation and you still want to get my introduction to animation course for free, this weekend is the last weekend that it's going to be for free. So go on over there and grab it before you got to pay for it. So there you go. Ronnie,
All right, thanks,
was
bro.
awesome.
I appreciate it so
Brian?
much.
it was awesome that you dropped in. That was very cool.
Pleasure to be here.
It was a nice surprise. Gotta save this guy. There we go. Fun. Now the daddy's gonna take the T-bird away. All right. Well, thanks you guys. Go on out there and have some fun this week. Be careful this weekend, and go out and make some art.
Get some paper dirty.
And if you're on the Gulf Coast there, on the North Gulf Coast, please take some shelter. Don't try to ride it out. I'm sure all you guys are like you've had it at this point, and I'm sure you're just gonna go. So I hope I'm wishing you guys well. I'm hoping that storm weakens before it gets to shore. But if you guys are signed up for the class tomorrow, I will see you tomorrow. Otherwise, I will see you back here again, same time next Friday. So go out, put some beauty back in the world, be nice to somebody, and I will talk to you next week.
See you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys are interested in any wildlife photography, you can check out my Instagram at Dustin_Blaise. And also you can find my photo packs on creatureartteacher.com as well. And other than that, thank you guys once again for watching. See you guys next week. And as always, Cowboy Bebop. See ya.
Bye-bye now.